The mediator design pattern allows us to centralize interaction logic in one place. And it's a design pattern we typically find when we have complex interfaces where several interacting elements must be coordinated somehow. When we create a graphical interface such as this, where we have a list of items, we have some buttons and a text field, we might have interactions between them. And let me demo what this interface does. So we select an element from the list, and one of the two buttons is selected as active, so it can be selected, and text in the lower field is updated. This text is only shown, to be showed for Arkansas. Now, if we press the lowercase button, then the text is lowercase, apart from the statement. Alabama has a different effect. Selecting Alabama means that both buttons are selectable, so you can have the text in uppercase or in lowercase. Illinois means that no buttons selectable, and Iowa on the uppercase options. Now, here we see that clearly when selecting an item, we affect both the panel of buttons and the text shown. Also, when we select either the buttons, the text is also updated. So we have interactions from the list to the text field as well as the button panel. We have interactions from the button panel and the text field. We could have classes for the list as well as the button panel and have them register themselves as listeners, so, or rather register the text field as a listener for changes in the list as well as for changes in the buttons. But to have an idea of how all the elements interact with one another in one place, we can apply the mediator pattern. Here, we let the mediator itself be a listener in the observer design pattern. The observer design pattern decouples someone who produces events, a list, from someone who listens to events, the GUI mediator in this case. So the GUI mediator has to subscribe to events from a list and then react to them using an update method. In this update method, whenever the list is updated with a new selection, we update the text in the lower panel, and we update the buttons in the button panel. And also, then updating the buttons, of course, relies on the button panel doing something sensible. In this case, that the lowercase button is only enabled if the text starts with an uppercase A, and the uppercase button is only enabled if the text ends with a lowercase a. But driving that change is done from the GUI mediator. Also, the button panel here, which contains the lowercase and uppercase buttons, is supplied with listeners. So we register here in the mediator for events emitted by the lowercase button, and if pressing the lowercase button, then we update the lower text panel with text and also set the uppercase button to false and top, and vice versa with the uppercase button. So the mediator contains observers. It actually registers observers in the different GUI parts that mediates interactions between. And typically, this is how the mediator is used, so that it acts as a central point of interaction between multiple graphical components. And at the cost of being a more complex class, so it mediates between all these three panels, both the list, the button panel, and the text panel, the text field. But on the other hand, it makes those components that much simpler, because all interactions are centralized in this one class.